Welcome, everyone in the United States, Canada, and around the world to another episode of It's a Wrap with Rap, the podcast of overcomers and useful information to better and brighten our daily life and mental well-being. I'm your host, Ron Rapaport. I would like to thank all our listeners, our viewers, and our sponsors and supporters for making the podcast such a success. Besides being heard on all major platforms and YouTube, the podcast may also be accessed on our website, itsawrapwithrap.com, where you can find all the episodes, previews of future episodes, and unique products and services offered by our sponsors, as well as the podcast Book Nook, showcasing many of the books our guests have authored that may be purchased from Amazon. My guest today is Cole Baughman and his mother Megan and his father Nate from Cincinnati, Ohio. Cole was born with Stickler Syndrome, a rare genetic disorder that affects connective tissues. Cole is in high school and is here with us today with his parents to make us aware of Stickler Syndrome and to also show us that despite the restrictions Stickler poses, it is not a barrier to one's hopes and dreams, as Cole is currently the proud unofficial 16th man on the University of Cincinnati Bearcats men's basketball team. So from Cincinnati, Ohio, United States, welcome Cole, Megan, and Nate to the podcast. What a pleasure to have you guys on.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate you.
Well, it's great to have you on and give you a platform. I want to start out with Cole. Cole, can you please introduce yourself to the audience? Tell us a little bit about yourself, your age, where you go to school, what activities you're involved in, and how you're doing in scholastics as well.
Yeah, I'm Cole Baughman. I'm 15 years old. I go to Batavia High School. I do just about everything I can in our school. I'm in the marching band, golf team, bowling team, academic quiz team. My teacher, Mr. Carter, got me to be a manager for our JV baseball team. So I do as much as I can in our school.
That sounds good.
Academically, I'm doing really well. Straight A's this year.
Where do you find time to get straight A's when you're doing all this other stuff?
It's hard. I find it on the car rides in between practices.
Yeah, time management, you're pretty good at that, huh?
hmm
No time for TV, I would imagine, huh?
You'd be surprised. I can get a couple episodes of some shows in here and there.
Okay, good. So I know baseball is one of your favorite sports, but you can't play contact sports because of Stickler syndrome, which we'll talk about. How has the school been to help you over that hurdle of missing out of playing contact sports?
Oh, Batavia's been amazing. They've given me so many opportunities due to my genetic disorder. I'm the mascot for our school. I wear the outfit. As I said, a teacher of mine got me to be a manager for our JV baseball team. They've been so helpful with everything, and they've given me so many resources to do things no other kid would be able to do.
That's great. That's great. And Batavia is in the city of Cincinnati?
Yeah, it's on the outskirts. We're just outside the 275 Outer Belt Loop. We're about 25 minutes from downtown Cincinnati.
Okay.
So we claim Cincinnati as home, but Batavia is actually the county seat of Claremont County, which is one county east of Hamilton County, which is where Cincinnati is.
Now let's dive into the subject of Stickler syndrome and talk about that. So this is kind of directed at Megan and Nate. Can you tell our audience what Stickler syndrome exactly is and its signs and symptoms?
Want me to go?
Yeah.
All right. So Stickler's syndrome is, as you mentioned earlier, kind of based all around connective tissues. And so it has a lot to do with the joints, and then a lot of it deals with from the neck up because everything that connects eyes, ears, ENT, basically everything in your mouth and your throat and all of those types of functions that deal with connective tissues. And so someone who is diagnosed or is identified as a person who has Stickler syndrome can present in several different ways. There's, I believe, 5 or 6 specific areas, but not every person with Sticklers is going to present the same way. There
Okay.
are some physical features, and some people with sticklers present more than others physically. Cole, to look at him, you wouldn't notice unless we pointed out to you any specific physical features, but he does have a very flat bridge of his nose in this area, and he does have a little bit of a recessed chin. And again, so that's all just a part of sticklers, and not every kid presents as such, and some present more. Um, so where Cole has really been identified as areas that sticklers has affected him the most are with his eyes. Um, and we had some issues with his throat and soft palate when he was born and when he was younger. And that really is what clued us into it. So I'll start with that. When he was young, um, we noticed some speech issues where he really struggled to pronounce a lot of specific words and phrases. So we got some help from Claremont County Help Me Grow, and they came out to do speech therapy and all of that. And through that, they said we should probably get to Cincinnati Children's, which is the #1 children's hospital in the country. And we met with some specialists and realized that he had an issue at the back of his throat where his soft palate was not able to close the airway between his nasal passage and the back of his throat. So when he would talk, he was very nasally because he couldn't close that. So that was part of a Stickler's. That was part of Sticklers. That was that because of Sticklers. So he had some surgeries on the back of his throat. He had uh, a surgery to kind of fix that or help with that, and it created some other things that we might talk about. Um, and then his eyes have been something that has we've had to focus on. He's at high risk for retinal detachment.
Yeah.
He's at high risk for retinal detachment as a result of sticklers. And that is the main reason he can't play contact sports. He
Right.
can't take a
Right.
blow to the head. Um, and he had a surgery about 7 or 8 years ago. He had a retinal strengthening surgery. It was laser surgery, not LASIK, but they went in and literally strengthened his retinas to lower his risk for retinal detachment.
Right.
Even after that surgery, he's still at a much higher risk than
Oh,
a
sure.
person without sticklers.
Yeah.
So those are the areas that he presents the most. And we just kind of keep an eye on things. He does wear a CPAP machine. He's worn a CPAP since he was 5, which was after he had the palate surgery, which was a byproduct of that surgery. They're going to reassess as he gets older to see if there's something they can do about that. They may look at some jaw surgeries. He's had a lot of issues with teeth and jaw placement. So we're in a good place right now, but they'll revisit some of that here in the next 3 to 5 years to see if they need to maybe do something with his jaw or maybe not. They just got to let him grow and see how those things play out. Other patients with sticklers might present differently. Hearing is an area where patients with sticklers can struggle. Cole's hearing has been great. That has not been an
Oh,
issue for
that's
him.
good. That's good.
But yeah, but other patients may really struggle with hearing. It just really depends on a case by case basis.
Yeah, I did my little investigation, and you mentioned the retinal detachment. Nearsightedness, I guess, is another issue, and glaucoma and cataracts for
Yep.
some,
Yep.
not for Cole. Good.
Right.
Early
Right.
onset osteoarthritis.
Right. And that has to do with the joints and all of those things.
Right.
So again, those are things that, we'll continue to monitor and he'll monitor.
Right.
And we have done physical therapy once. He went through a phase where he felt really tight in the calves and hamstring area.
Yeah.
So we did physical therapy for about a year just to kind of get that stretch and the hypermobility, his hypermobility in both his elbows and knees. So that's kind of caused a little bit of that, just kind of watching that. A lot of sticklers is just treating those individual characteristics. So you just kind of have to treat
Right.
each symptom that you get individually.
I also read crooked teeth is a problem with some people. Dental caries, learning difficulties in some people. Again, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Luckily, we haven't had that issue with
Yeah,
him.
and like you said, it varies person to person, but
He did just get braces off, so we
yeah,
did have some spacing issues with his teeth,
okay.
overcrowding. He had 4 adult teeth pulled, as a 14-year-old. So
Okay.
he did have some overcrowding in there, but
Well,
bracelets have
we
helped
want to
that.
give our audience, an overview of,
Yeah, good.
what it
Yeah,
involves.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Uh, and you kind of answered my next question. Did Cole have to have any procedures at a very young age? Like after, as an
So, I
infant
mean,
or
technically for Sticklers, his first surgery would have been about 2.5.
okay.
He had his tonsils and adenoids out at about 2.5. And then his first soft palate surgery was right after he was 3.
Yeah.
Um,
So it is
he
at
was
a young
born,
age.
oddly enough, and they say it's no connection to Sticklers. He was born with a rare blood infection. And so he
Mm,
did actually receive a PICC line 4 days after he was born, so we could bring him home on antibiotics. But they say it had nothing to do with the actual disorder that he has now. So,
yeah. Now moving on, it is known that like the syndrome's passed down from generation to generation. Is there any idea of anyone in the family who could have had this before him?
So nobody in either of our families has presented or has ever been tested for it. So we don't know. Megan and I talked early on when he was diagnosed, and they offered to have both of us tested to find out which one of us was the carrier, because it's one of us. And we decided that we didn't want to do that because what was it going to change?
Right.
Um, and we didn't want that to create any animosity in the family about who was responsible because we don't have any control over that anyway.
Yeah.
So it's definitely from one of us, but we've never taken the steps to figure out who that would
Okay.
be.
Fair
Doesn't
enough.
necessarily matter.
Fair enough. Now, the good thing is, uh, for our audience, tell us, sticklers doesn't affect anything to do with intelligence, correct?
No, not at all. And
Okay.
actually, brag a little bit on him here. He's been identified by the state of Ohio as gifted in all core subjects as well as cognitive ability. So he's identified gifted in 5 areas technically.
That's awesome.
He's a freshman in high school, and he's taking junior level CCP math, which is college credit plus. He's also taking, as a freshman, AP World History, and is on an advanced track. And he actually has aspirations to be an engineer of some kind with the hopes of working either for NASA or something similar. So he's already thinking about colleges that offer great engineering programs, including MIT, Michigan, University of Cincinnati, Purdue, and Ohio State and some similar schools. So he's already thinking about those things. So absolutely not an issue for any
That's
of
good.
that type of stuff.
Okay, so this is for Cole. So growing up, did you ever feel with this Stickler syndrome out of place or anything, or was it ever an impediment to making friends? I know from what I've read, it, sticklers can be a little more tougher on girls than boys because of, the facial flattening, that type of thing. Girls have to wear glasses and, they don't think they're as pretty, as the next girl, that type of thing. Has that ever been an issue?
No, I've always known I've been different, and it's never affected me. I've always gone with an attitude. Walk into a room, I walk out with 3 new friends. I'm
Awesome.
just, it's never.
To all patients and caregivers out there, Rare Patient Voice, a supporter of the It's a Wrap with Rap podcast, is paying for your input. Patients 16 years and older and caregivers, family, and friends of any disability, disorder, syndrome, illness, or condition have the opportunity to express their opinions through surveys and interviews to improve medical products and services. Who knows your journey better than you? Rare Patient Voice puts you in touch with researchers who are developing products and services that can help you and others with your condition. These researchers need input of patients to develop products and services that have a significant impact on patients' lives. Over the past 9 years, Rare Patient Voice has paid patients over $10 million. When you join Rare Patient Voice, you may be invited to participate in interviews, surveys, or online communities where you will share your insights. Rare Patient Voice has hundreds of studies running at any time, so there are many opportunities to participate. You will earn $120 per hour or $2 a minute, depending on the length of the survey, for participating in these studies. By making your voice heard, you are a catalyst for change. Rest assured, your input will be used to help other patients like you. There is no cost at all for you to participate. You can get more information and sign up by clicking the link in the sponsor's notes of this podcast or the link provided in this announcement.
Um, and so it is very, can be very diagnosed differently and at different ages. And so that's what they say. It is rare, but it's also rarely diagnosed.
I mean, for our listeners who are not on YouTube, I'm looking at Cole. Cole looks very handsome, like any other kid to me. So, I mean, I wouldn't know anything if he
Yeah.
had something or not.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no cure for this, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
No
correct.
cure.
There's no cure. Like I said earlier, just kind of have to treat those individual symptoms. So we, go to an eye doctor, we go to a hearing doctor, we have
Yeah.
a PT, we have a,
Yeah.
ENT on hold. We're kind of done with them currently, but kind of have that in to go, if something arises in that area. He does follow a team of about 10 doctors that we do see about. We're down, some of them we only see every 2 years now, which is awesome. We were at every 6 months. So as he's getting older and growing,
Yeah.
some of those back off unless obviously something comes up. He has a pulmonologist that we see more regularly just due to being on a CPAP.
The CPAP, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, our doctor's visits have slowly gotten a little more spaced out, which is nice.
So, what we say on this podcast, because we interviewed a lot of people with all kinds of issues, instead of why is this happening to me, we usually say, why not me, or why is this happening for me? How has Stickler syndrome affected your family, and what opportunities have arisen from it for Cole?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll let Cole talk here in a second about some of his experiences. But I know, and this is a great opportunity to shout out the wonderful folks at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Like I said, they're here in the last couple of years they've always been in the top 3 or 4,
Yeah,
but they are now currently #1 overall in children's hospitals across the United States. And there are people that come from all over. We're amazed every time we go because we're 25 minutes away. It's right down near downtown in Clifton. It's right near the campus of the University of Cincinnati. Um, and we're amazed at how many people have come from, states away, all over the country because of the amazing things that they do there in so many different areas. And so through our affiliation with Children's, Cole has been tapped to represent the hospital in many different ways whether it be the Celestial Ball, which is their annual fundraiser where they highlight several children every year. We actually were the host family for when the First Lady Melania Trump was in town during their first term. She was at Children's meeting with doctors and specialists about many different things in regards to children's health, and we got to host her at the hospital and kind of meet with her. And so, like we talk about Sticklers, yes, it has restricted some of the things, but we feel like it's opened many more doors for Cole, for
yeah,
sure. And then for us as a family, we have a daughter. He has a sister, Maya, who is 12 years old, almost 13, and she does not have Sticklers. And she's been able to participate in a lot of things as a result, as have all of us. So, we're always a glass is half full kind
right,
of family.
right.
And so I think I'll let Cole talk about, the most recent thing that he's been able to do as a result of all of
Yeah, and we're
this.
going to talk about the basket
Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
later on. So,
sounds
Okay,
good.
if
I'll
there's
hold, I'll
anything
hold on to
else,
that one then.
okay,
No, so Stewards has taken a lot away from me, like being able to play sports like football, soccer, baseball, but
right,
it's given me the opportunity to still be part of the teams,
Right.
but coaching and running the teams more than actually playing. So I I've thought about this before. If I could go back and choose between having sticklers and not having it, I think I'd choose to have sticklers every time because it's given me so many wonderful opportunities through children's, through my school, and just throughout my life.
So have you been advocating to make people aware of Stickler at
Yeah,
Children's?
yeah, I'm very open about sticklers. If anyone asks, I tell them everything they need to know, and I want people to be more aware of it and that
Yeah.
it doesn't affect me as a person. It just affects what I can do.
No, it's great that you're getting the word out and people know about it. So it's not some sort of mystery, to, hey, what's that? You
Yeah.
know, uh, so this is for all you guys. Can you talk about the national organization Team Impact that you were selected, Cole, to be a participant of? Tell our audience what it's about. How did you hear about them? And what impact has being part of the Cincinnati Bearcats men's basketball team had on you?
Yeah, we a friend of ours told us about it. They were paired with NKU's soccer team to a local college. And so we signed up. We were on the waiting list for about 2 years. We
Mhm.
got a couple maybes on like a golf team and a swimming team. But then we got a call about 2.5 years after we initially signed up that the Cincinnati Bearcats team had entered the program and is wanting to get a kid, and I was that kid, and they've done so much for me.
I mean, you must have been really thrilled when you heard the University of Cincinnati basketball team. I mean, that's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
we've always been Bearcats fans. He was a cheerleader there. She
Yeah.
worked there for a little bit, and my first Bearcats event was what, 3 months old?
Yeah, you're about 3 months old at your first football game.
I remember, of course, I'm going back, but I know Nate and Megan know about Oscar Robert.
Oh
Oscar
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Robert. I
met
mean,
that guy.
The big
yeah, the
O.
big O. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a
Yeah.
great program, great school,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
uh, great city to represent. Uh, so did the University of Cincinnati become involved through the hospital? How did that come
Good
about?
night.
So no, what happens is the team impact is we learned about it through another patient from the hospital, but
Okay.
it's actually a national organization. So any college across the United States can join any sport. So some colleges may have just one sport, some may have 10. My daughter was actually looking on the map today how many schools in Ohio have team impact matches. So basically each sport just signs up for the program. It's a 2-year contract. And they agree to basically involve that participant as part of their team for those 2 years. You do a signing day, and then um, you basically do those 2 years, and then there's kind of like an end transitional kind of period out. But like I said, it's individual sports can do it, not the whole university has to. And they sign up directly through Team Impact. So that's what was happening. It's newer
Yeah.
in the Cincinnati area. So we had signed up and there was no men's team local. So we were just kind of in a waiting game for a men's team to sign up. And
Yeah.
we just lucked out because when I think I told Nate first and he was like, "Are you serious? Like, did they know?" And I said, "Well, they know. Like, they know that we're Bearcats fans. That was on our paperwork and things like that. But we had waited 2.5 years, so it's
So
not
you
like
you were at the right place at the right time.
correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, so Cole, tell us about your relationship uh with the team players. And you are the unofficial 16th man,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
tell us about that.
I have an amazing relationship with all current players and a good handful of past players. I have a good chunk of their phone numbers. I played ping pong with them. I played a couple.
For all those taking health supplements and those concerned with maintaining excellent health, the It's a Wrap with Rap podcast is honored to have Life Priority Health and Nutrition as a supporter of the podcast. Life Priority has been providing high-quality supplements backed by science since 1994. What makes Life Priority different from other supplement companies? The scientists behind Life Priority, Dirk Pearson and Sandy Shaw, life extension scientists and designer food formulators, are independent experts in anti-aging research and brain biochemistry, and have won many awards, including the Award for Excellence in Health and Education from the Association for Holistic Health for individuals who have made special contributions to biomedical aging research. They wrote the runaway #1 national bestseller, Life Extension, A Practical Scientific Approach in 1982, which was a benchmark in the history of nutritional science and created a whole new biomedical paradigm. The book was deemed by the New York Times as the fountain of youth. Over 30 years ago, World Series champion Greg Pryor and his wife Michelle teamed up with Dirk Pearson to start Life Priority. Greg and Michelle were impressed with the integrity of the product. Dirk and Sandy actually started formulating their supplements only for their own personal use initially, so they take their products every day. Life Priority has over 50 years of collective experience in the health and nutrition industry in specific areas such as manufacturing at FDA, USDA facilities, ingredient analysis, scientific development and consulting, product knowledge and use, legal labeling, and relationships with nutritional product manufacturers. Greg and Michelle are always available to guide their customers in making their choices of formulations to take. You can call them at 800-787-5438, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. U.S. Central Time, and all your questions and concerns will be answered. Or you can set up a free consultation time on the website. Please check out the website, lifepriority.com, for detailed information on ordering products and product information. Please use the code RAP for a 10% discount on your first order. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Life Priority Nutrition does not provide medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Life Priority, established in 1994, offers supplements that are scientifically formulated, results-oriented, and generally recognized as safe and are manufactured at USDA and FDA inspected facilities.
His house. He was highlighted at the kickoff dinner this year when Roy Williams, who was Coach Miller's coach at University of North Carolina, he was the guest speaker. Marty Brenneman, the voice of the Reds, was the MC. And so Cole got recognized by Coach Miller at that banquet, which is basically a big fundraising dinner, black tie affair. And the list goes on and on. They've been more than we could have ever asked for.
Oh, you're the toast of the town, it seems.
Yeah, we actually just found someone was on Reddit because they made custom jerseys for Cole that match exactly what the players have, and they hid the number that he wanted on it. They put his last name on the back of it. He runs out with the team, he runs in with the team, and there's a Reddit post where people are asking who's number 7 because they don't know because he's not on the roster, and so
Right.
It's been quite interesting.
So Cole, tell us, what's a typical game day like for you? I assume you don't go on away games, right? You're just there for home games.
No, I don't go to most away games. We travel, like my dad took us to the NKU game, and then the team put me on the bus with the players on the way to the Dayton game, which was 6-minute bus ride.
Okay.
They actually played that game downtown Cincinnati, but yeah, he did get to ride the bus to one away game.
Oh, that's
And then they did
neat.
get us tickets to another local away game, but they were all in Cincinnati.
Okay, so do you have specific duties for the game? I mean,
Show up.
whatever your job is,
My job's just to be there for the team,
The hype man.
cheer them on, hype man, right after
Okay.
rave on.
Okay. So it's not like you got to pick up towels off the floor or anything
No.
crazy like that.
No,
Okay.
he gets the best of both worlds. He doesn't have to do any work, and he gets all the accolades and all the gear, and gets to sit in there for the coaches' speeches, and he gets to run out with the team. And he did
But
have
you're an inspiration. You're an inspiration to
Yeah, absolutely.
You're an
Yeah.
inspiration. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when you play ping pong with these guys, do you ever beat them?
Oh, all the time.
Really?
The players don't normally beat me. It's the managers who I gotta actually like try to beat.
Oh,
They're a little more of a struggle. Dylan Mitchell is our really only player who can
Yeah,
put up competition in ping pong.
that's
He played
it.
against
One
him with a
guy.
bag of chips in
He
his hand.
did.
So here's these tremendous athletes, but they can't beat you in ping pong.
Nope.
Nope.
It's a
D1
different
athletes
sport.
making millions of
Different
dollars, but
sport.
they beat him in ping pong.
Uh, Cole, tell our audience what was the season like for the Bearcats? I mean, I think they're out of the tournament, obviously, March Madness now, but what
Yeah.
was the season like?
I had fun throughout the season. The wins were good. The losses were tough. There were multiple games we were so close to getting. Next year, we'll get them next year is all you got to do. Just keep going, never give up. We weren't able to make it into March Madness. That was upsetting, but we did get into this new tournament called the Crown down in Las Vegas.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a nil tournament.
It's some new
Yeah.
tournament.
Oh,
And
is
we
that with
just
the
won our
players?
first game earlier today against
DePaul.
DePaul.
So that's the players that get compensated?
I don't know what the contract looks like, but it's definitely it was set up by the leagues. Like there's certain leagues got a certain number of teams into that tournament if they didn't make the NCAA. So it's affiliated with the leagues. It's definitely connected with nil money. It's in Vegas. So it's brand new. So I don't know the details of it, but there's something there. But they did play today in their first game and won pretty big, so they're moving on. So, even though it's not the NCAA, it's always nice to finish your season with some wins. So hopefully
Yeah,
they can push through.
absolutely, absolutely. Cole, do
Yeah.
you plan on continuing to advocate for people with Stickler and educate the public
Absolutely.
about it?
I'm going to
Okay.
keep pushing sticklers and everything I can about it.
Uh, I was going to ask you, Cole, have you ever met other kids, similar to your age, that have Stickler?
One, right?
He has something similar to
Similar,
Stickler's.
but
It's called Pierre-Robin syndrome. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
very similar. And that is a boy that we've met through children's, lives here in Cincinnati. So we actually do interact with him at a lot of the champions events, the children's events. But not directly. I've had some contact with some over like Facebook, I'm on a Facebook page and things like that, but not personally. Have you probably met anybody?
I don't think so.
yeah. I run a support group with men that have male breast cancer, which again is rare. And it's always good to talk to somebody who shares that. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
have similarities. So that might be something down the road you could think of, maybe starting a support group,
Yeah.
in your free time, of course.
Right.
In all my
Yeah.
free time.
Yeah. Uh, this is for everyone, every one of you. Any advice out there for people with limitations due to a medical issue to improve their situation and not let the condition get the best of them? Any advice?
What I did, and I'd say for anyone who's going through something even remotely similar to me, don't see it as a limitation. See it as a way to make your life better and find new routes to do new things you love.
Yeah. Yeah, we always viewed it as, one door closes, another door or a window or some other opportunity opens and you take advantage of it. And so we never said, hey, yeah, we would have conversations like, okay, yes, you can't do that anymore. Like we let him play baseball until it got to be kid pitch. When it was coach pitch, they let him because there was control, but when it started to be kid pitch is when he had to stop playing baseball. Basketball, he tried a little bit, wasn't, and we never let him play football. I'm
Football,
actually,
I would say would be out.
yeah, and even before we knew he had sticklers, I wouldn't have allowed him to play football until he was in junior high. I'm a former football coach, and little kid football was never, I think, big on my list for lots of different reasons. So
Right.
we never looked at it as, oh, you can't do that, and that's it. We were like, hey, what would you want to try this? He tried everything that he could to just kind of like throw it at the wall and see what sticks, and he's still doing that. And so that's what we would say to people is find what else there is because there's always something. There's always something you can do. There's always some opportunity that you can latch onto. You just got to look
Absolutely.
for it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I know in my situation, I belong to an organization called Male Breast Cancer Happens.org, and I told the director, uh, hey, why don't we go on podcasts and talk to men, young men
Mhm.
who don't know anything about this,
Yeah,
instead of preaching to the choir.
right.
And so we went on all kinds of podcasts all over the world.
Yeah,
And after doing that, somebody said to me, hey, maybe you ought to start your own podcast.
there you go.
And I said, I don't know the first thing about it, but I bought a microphone, I bought a headset, and here we are, four
There you
years
go.
later.
Yeah,
And so yeah, one door closes, but another door opens,
absolutely.
and you have to take advantage of that.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
I want to thank you, Cole. I want to thank you, Nate and Megan, for being on the podcast, sharing your story, and educating us on Stickler Syndrome and giving hope and inspiration to those out there and their families to overcome their particular health issues. Megan and Nate, thanks once again for coming on and educating us and letting us meet your son, Cole. Cole, I want to wish you the best of luck going forward and good fortune. And I know you will be doing great things in the future. And please promise me and our audience that whatever your goals and your dreams are in your life, that no matter what those challenges are, you will overcome them and never give up trying to achieve them.
I promise I won't.
Okay, great. Uh, Comments and suggestions for the podcast, you can email me at itsarapwithrap@gmail.com. Our Facebook group is It's a Rap with Rap. We're on Instagram, It's a Rap with Rap Podcast. We're on X or Twitter at Rapper, WRAPPER 130. Our website is It's a Rap with Rap.com. All the episodes are on YouTube. It's a Rap with Rap, the podcast uncut. I want to thank everyone for listening. Please stay safe. And for now, it's a wrap.